Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now, today I want to talk about Russia's vast mineral resources, which are the largest in the world, and how much are they worth? Well, Igor Sechin, in his speech from the rostrum at the 17th Verona Eurasian Economic Forum, the chairman and CEO of Rosneft, stated that the estimated total value of Russia's natural resources is approximately $100 trillion. He stated that this figure is almost twice that of the United States, plus it's 10 times the 10 trillion alleged value of the natural resources of the Ukraine, which is the estimated value given to them according to the Queen of Washington, the gay camp US Senator and well-known war hawk, Russia hater and fudge packer, the Lady Lindsey Graham, who wants them all for the USA. So let's address the two key questions. How will the value of Russia's natural resources change, and how effectively will Russia use them? Well, the total value of Russia's natural resources is subject to change over time. However, most of these changes tend to be positive. Accordingly, the total value of Russia's natural resources was estimated at 30 trillion in 2015. By 2017, this increased to 55 trillion, and by 2021, it had reached 75 trillion, and that was assessed by the German statistics company Statista. Now, furthermore, in 2024, the Russian authorities estimate the total value of the natural resources at 100 trillion. That's according to Gazan Razanov, who's an analyst at the Russian OED Center of the Presidential Academy. Today, the value of Russia's natural resources obviously fluctuate in line with the discovery of new deposits and the long-term prices of minerals on the international markets. Now, it's also important to consider the relationship between the price of natural resources and population growth, which drives the demand for specific natural resources. Now, the growth of population in countries where Russia's natural resources and products derived from them are supplied, as well as the total price of the natural resources in the world market, affect the results in calculating the total value of the natural resources in the future. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, SCOBRICSinsight.com, to further develop it. And you can do this by making a small donation, which is done by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Now, everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now. Now, Russia does have a huge wealth of untapped natural resources. Currently, the relatively modest cost of geological exploration and the low economic feasibility of developing hard-to-reach deposits means that the use of natural resources cannot be considered efficient, according to Evgeny Mironuk, who's an analyst at the broker World of Investments. Now, it's only reasonable to assess the value of our natural resources based on the costs of extraction and their development. Now, the nominal value of natural resources is only relevant in the potential significant increase in their value or inefficiency of the extraction or a reduction in the cost price. Now, the value of Russia's natural resources is influenced obviously by global energy prices, which in turn are shaped by factors such as global supply and demand, the transition to the so-called green energy, and obviously geopolitical considerations. Now, according to Alex Herman, who's head of analysis at Alpha 4X, in the coming years the demand for traditional hydrocarbons will remain high. Now, I support that current assessment because the transition towards renewable energy may exert pressure on the price of oil and gas. Natural gas is a more environmentally friendly fuel, so it will be in high demand during the energy transition, simply because it's cleaner than other forms like coal. But oil is going to be needed because it's not used just for fuels like gasoline and diesel, but for petrochemicals and plastics and all sorts of other products that cannot be replaced by renewables. Plus, the growth in prices for metals and rare earth elements used in the production of technologies for these so-called renewables will increase the importance of these resources. Now, Schneiderman believes that Russia is leveraging its natural resources to bolster its economic growth. Now, revenues from the export of oil, gas, coal and metals currently represents a reasonably significant portion of the federal budget, providing funding for social and infrastructure programs. I mean, it's worth noting that Russia's home to approximately 20% of the world's natural resource reserves. Now, in particular, Russia's the undisputed world leader in the reserves, for example, of gold, platinum, palladium, as well as a wide range of other metals like nickel, zinc, and others. Now, if you add in natural gas, which Russia has 25% of the world's known supplies, you get an idea of what a powerhouse of commodities are. Now, according to Evgeny Smirnov, who's head of economic relations at the University of Management in Russia, this fact determines the high level of self-sufficiency in Russia in almost all types of national resources, which means it eliminates the need to import them, as well as a high degree of orientation of the economy on natural resources. It means they're not dependent on other countries in the way that countries like the US and the EU are, or areas like the EU. So the estimated value of, obviously, Russia's natural resources is constantly changing, but predominantly in an upward trajectory. That's due to the fact that a significant proportion of resources worldwide are inherently exhaustible, and their value and cost has historically demonstrated an upward trend. So if we consider the reserves of mineral raw materials, we can see that the increase in world prices for some types grow, allowing these resources to be extracted at previously unprofitable deposits. If the price is high enough and the extraction cost is low enough, you can make a margin. It's also worth noting that Russia plus all other countries have pretty much exhausted their easily accessible mineral deposits. That said, new technologies have given hard to extract deposits much easier to deal with. Now, the World Bank estimates that Russia gets about 18.5% of its GDP in income from its natural resources. But obviously this figure is subject to significant fluctuations, not fluctuations. For instance, in 2020 it stood at 7.6%, when in 2018 it was 14.4%. And that's because of the volatility of prices for various natural resources. Now, Russia, with its vast natural resource reserves, has historically been reliant on those, and they've always made up a significant portion of its GDP. However, obviously, Russia's income is significantly influenced by its resources and raw materials, and that also has an impact on global commodities markets. I mean, despite all of the various things that have happened, Russia's not dependent just on hydrocarbons. I mean, mentioned its income, for example, in the 1990s, resource revenues accounted for only 10% of Russia's GDP. By the 2000s, it had gone to 20%. Now, currently, the effectiveness of Russia's resources contingent on geopolitical considerations and the intricate relationship between Russia and the key players in the global economy, particularly the BRICS. Now, with Russia's having its significant wealth, it really needs to look at where the high concentration of the resource contributes or hinders the diversification of its economy and foreign trade. And remember, the resource curse theory. I mean, this theory suggests that countries with abundant natural resources have a narrow economic base due to their significant dependence on income from natural resources. But you can also look at examples of effective redistribution of income of natural resources, such as certain Middle East countries like Qatar and United Arab Emirates, who've diversified their income streams, having used their mineral wealth to start to build those. I mean, historically, Russia's growing dependence on natural resources has led to its discovery of over 300 more oil and gas fields over the last 3 decades. And that's created a significant need for capital investment, which has then had a positive impact on the social economic development of quite a number of Russia's regions. Plus, in the light of sanctions and the current state of the Russian economy, which has proved to be far more resilient than pretty much every other economy on the planet, shows that natural resources are far more of a blessing than a curse. I mean, look at the US, which is mainly a services economy, as is the EU. So Russia can actually make things, and it's now started as import substitution. So it's diversified itself to mitigate the risks with the raw material price volatility, but also for getting the amount of revenue that it can generate from selling value-added products made from these resources. So the future of the Russia's economy will depend to how the exploitation of these natural resources and how they actually get them to be more diversified by achieving the developing industries like the chemical, petrochemicals and value added. And that will ensure the sustainable rates of growth and development in the future. So there you have it. Russia's 100 trillion mineral wealth and what they need to do with it. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. And if you want to help me out, please click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.